I swear to God, this movie made me cry like 5 times. I'm a grown man. I don't cry that often. This is embarrassing for me to talk about. So this dude wakes up from a coma in space all by himself. Doesn't even know why he's there. He's confused as hell. Finally figures out that his home planet is basically absolutely fucked because these little microorganisms in between Venus and the sun are eating the sun, and no one knows how to stop it. So they sent him, Ryland Grace is his name. They sent this guy Ryland Grace. He's I guess a biologist, really, who is an expert on these microorganisms. They're called astrophage, and I believe astrophage is a word that literally means eater of the sun. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what it means, though. And they sent him on a ship with a pilot and I think an engineer. Both of those people died. Don't ask me why they sent only 3 people on this ship, bro, for one thing. They sent 3 people on a ship that was going to get somewhere in 11 years. That's dumb. That's just dumb. But it was a suicide mission, so there's that. Oh shit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this U-turn. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh shit, that was a close one. Okay. But he wakes up and both of his crewmates are dead. Still doesn't know how he got there. He gets to the solar system that he needs to get to, and the reason he's at this solar system is that because of some kind of scans that they were doing at NASA or whatever the group was that was looking into the problem, they found that there was a solar system where the sun was not being eaten. And it was, every single other solar system was being eaten by the sun except for this one. And they didn't know why. So they sent a ship there to go study this place. And he's in the ship, it's all coming together in his head over the course of the movie. So he's in this solar system, all alone. And he's been alone for 11 years. Of course, he's been in an induced coma for those 11 years. So is he really feeling alone yet? Because he was around people before he got on the ship. So that's debatable. But he finds an alien spaceship. And it's a big moment. There's a big score playing, alien spaceship, big deal. And he starts communicating, or trying to communicate, with the alien that's on that spaceship, and it's only one. And this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, and if the movie wasn't so long, this is why nobody wanted to see the movie with me, because it's 3 hours long almost. One of the longest parts of the movie, one of the reasons why it's so long, is they have to learn to communicate with each other. So at first it starts out with them, well, they're a little bit timid, but then they start dancing. They realize that they can both dance and like understand what the other, I guess I'll just say person, what the other person is doing. Of course, one of them isn't a person, but I'll say person. And then very slowly they start figuring out how to talk to each other, and they're using some kind of computer algorithm to store words so that they can save them in like a dictionary, like an alien dictionary, so that they can slowly start to understand each other's languages. But at first they have to, mentioned the dancing, but they also have to, like, they were creating diagrams and shit. Like, there was, the alien gave Grace, Ryland Grace, this figurine of 2 rings. I think each were made of, 8. Yeah, each were made of 8 atoms, or was it 8 protons? either way, it was 2 rings of 8, which is O2, oxygen. And that was the alien telling him that there was oxygen on the ship so that he could breathe, he could take his helmet off. But once they start figuring out how to communicate with each other, Grace develops a text-to-speech algorithm and then gives him a voice, and it's like kind of this computer voice, but it's like, I don't know, it's really cute. It's like he has a little pet, but the pet can talk. It's not a pet, it's a comrade. But we find out that this guy's name, Grace names him Rocky because he's very rocky. He looks like kind of a, I don't know, man, like a Komodo dragon mixed with a turtle or something. That's a bad description, but he's like Rocky. Not like Rocky Balboa or somebody named Rocky. He looks like he's made of rocks. And so Grace calls him Rocky. And he finds out that and Rocky's just the nicest, sweetest guy. He's hilarious. He's funny, and he's kind of small. He's cute. Okay, I'm not afraid to fucking admit it. Oh fuck, am I gonna have to get over? Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Why does nothing ever go my way? Oh, just my luck. One of the funny things that he does is Grace is trying to teach him how to do a thumbs up, like this, and he doesn't get it, so he goes like this with his like 3 fingers that he has. He goes like this, and it's really funny. Another thing that's funny about him is every time he asks a question, instead of like uptoning his voice like this, he goes, "Why are you running around?" question. And Rocky builds himself this little ball so that he can enter Grace's ship without dying, because he needs to be in really hot conditions, and I think ammonia has to be involved. So he builds himself this ball, and then he comes rolling on in to Grace's ship, like when you're 13 and your best friend comes over to your house and he's there all the time. So he just waltzes right in and starts eating your food and shit. He just walks right into the ship. He's like, "Oh, this ship looks great. Yes, this ship looks great. I think I'm going to make my office right here. Get rid of Grace's stuff. Yes." It's fucking hilarious, dude. And we find out that Rocky is alone on his ship because 27 of his friends died on the way there. And when Grace goes to sleep the first night they meet, Rocky gets really upset because Grace won't let Rocky watch him sleep. And apparently with Rocky's species, it is imperative that they watch each other sleep, because they go into such a deep sleep that they cannot even get woken up to, like, in the event of a threat. So they have to have other people watching their back in case there's danger. And Rocky's friends went to sleep one night, and then they just never woke up. And that, I think, was the first time I cried in this movie. Because, I mean, come on. He's an alien, but he has friends. It's incredible. And then, you soon find out after that Rocky got an order. Soon find out after that the reason Rocky is persevering so hard to try to find a solution about this astrophage problem. By the way, that he's trying to solve the same problem that Grace has, if you didn't put that together. He's working so hard on the problem because he has a wife at home, and they've been together for 150 years. And Grace says, "Wow, 150 years, that's a pretty long time." And Rocky goes, "Not long enough." That's the second time that I cried. 2 times already. Oh my gosh, dude. The movie's amazing, though. Like, okay, I just want to put this into perspective for you. I have seen Grave of the Fireflies. I don't know if you ever watched Grave of the Fireflies, but it is one of the saddest movies you will ever watch in your life. I made a whole YouTube video about it. It is gut-wrenchingly sad. I did not cry once. One time, I did not cry. This movie made me cry 5 times. And, okay. So, they figure out that... Fuck, I gotta get over. Oh, shit. It's a little congested. They figure out that the astrophage are being kept in control. Their population is being kept in control, so they're not eating the sun because they have a predator. They might have a predator, and it's actually Rocky's idea. It's Rocky's hypothesis that they might have a predator on this one planet. I forget what they call it. Oh, I know what they call it. Grace asks if Rocky's wife has a name, and Rocky does this like chittery chirp thing, because that's the type of words that they use on their planet, and obviously a name wouldn't be translatable by their software, so Grace doesn't know what that name is, so he decides he has to give her an Earth name. So he says to the alien, he says to Rocky, "What about Adrian?" And I don't know if you know this, but if you've ever seen the Rocky movies, Rocky and Adrian are Rocky's the main character, and Adrian is the woman with which he is in love. So it's perfect. It's so perfect. So they figure out that the astrophage has a predator on this solar system. So, and when Rocky figures it out, he's like, I've got it, and he's so excited about it, that he figured it out. And so they decide that, well, their ship can't descend too far into the planet's atmosphere because it's not built for that. So they have to use a 5,000 meter chain. Really long chain. So that would be 5 kilometers. And they hook something on the end of it so that they can collect cells in the atmosphere. And they're doing this, and Grace is the one that's yanking it up or what have you. And so he's on a spacewalk. He's outside of the ship, and it's going really fast. And he manages to pull it off, just barely. And he's struggling the whole time, and Rocky is like really worried about him. You understand? He's really worried about him. And so Grace finally gets back into the ship, but then they hit some kind of turbulence or something, and he hits the wall and he passes out. And Rocky doesn't know what's wrong with him. I think like he might be about to die. And Rocky breaks out of his little ball that's keeping him alive in Grace's ship. Breaks out so that he can grab Grace. Grab him and put him on life support. And Grace wakes up maybe hours later and finds Rocky completely just looks like he might be dead. Looks like he's dead. Third time that I cried was when Rocky decided to break out of that ball to save Grace. That is the third time I cried. Fourth time I cried, spoiler alert by the way, if you didn't know already, my bad for not saying that. Fourth time I cried was when I found out that he was alive. we find out that he lived because Grace put him in under a heat lamp and under certain conditions. Fifth time I cried is after they collected the sample, they got what they needed. They succeeded in their mission. They collected the samples of the predators that would eat the astrophage, therefore saving the universe, the entire universe. And then they realize that they have to leave each other. And they do a whole 5-minute goodbye. And then they look at each other while they're leaving and they're going like this. Fifth time. But then it turns out that the predator of the astrophage evolved to eat its way through the xenon material that it was being encased in. That's a whole thing I don't want to get into. So Grace determines, oh, I forgot another time that I cried. When Rocky tells Grace, because remember this is a suicide mission, Rocky tells Grace that he's going to give him some of his fuel for the ride so that he doesn't have to die, so that he can go back home. Another time. So now we're at 6. But then Grace has to go back to Rocky's ship so that he can warn Rocky about this, because he knows, because the way that Rocky's species works, Rocky wouldn't have been able to detect this, and at least before it's too late. And he goes back to his ship, and we think that Rocky's dead. It's like he's not getting an answer when he knocks on Rocky's window or something like that. We think that he's dead. But then it turns out he's not dead. So I think I might have cried again at that point. I'm a grown-ass man. And then Grace goes back to Rocky's home planet and sends probes back to his home planet so that they can get the predator. They can get samples of the predator cell. And then he lives with Rocky. Decides to live with Rocky for good on his planet because he didn't really have anybody back home. And perhaps my favorite twist of this movie is that we find out that Ryland Grace did not even want to go on this mission. He decided not to go when he was begged to do so, because he's the only one who knew about the astrophage and knew how to study them. He was forced to go. He was too much of a pussy to go himself. And usually, like, with a story like this, you have a valiant hero. It's always a valiant hero who wants to do what's good for people and who's brave. This guy wasn't brave. And I love a flawed character. I absolutely love a flawed character. Because it's rare. So I thought that was a really good addition. Because it's realistic. Who would want to do that? Who would want to give up their life for that? And that's it. My name is Luke. This has been Castles in the Air. Goodbye.